Greetings from the Book Whisper. Every story is a journey into a world of love, passion, deception, and self-discovery. Close your eyes, let the sounds carry you away, and may this story touch your heart. The echoing silence. The humid air of Harmony Creek clung to everything, a thick, inescapable blanket. For Emma, it was the scent of stagnant dreams and unspoken truths. She watched Noah from the kitchen window, his broad shoulders framed by the setting sun as he meticulously pruned the roses in their overgrown garden. Their house, a modest Victorian on Elm Street, was a testament to a love that had once burned bright, now reduced to embers. Harmony Creek was the kind of town where everyone knew your business before you did. It was a place where secrets festered beneath a veneer of saccharine politeness. Emma, a freelance graphic designer, had moved here with Noah 5 years ago, seeking a slower pace, a sanctuary from the relentless grind of city life. He, a budding architect, had promised her that, but life, as it often did, had a way of weaving intricate, suffocating webs. Their marriage, once a symphony of shared laughter and whispered confessions, had become a discordant hum of silences. Noah was distant, his nights often spent in his makeshift office in the attic, the glow of his laptop screen a cold beacon. Emma, though outwardly composed, felt a gnawing hollowness. She'd filled their days with quiet routines, attempted conversations, and manufactured moments of intimacy, but the chasm between them only widened. The first crack had appeared suddenly, a hairline fracture easily dismissed. It was Noah's frequent late nights at the firm, followed by a lingering scent of unfamiliar perfume on his shirts. Then came the hushed phone calls, the quick, defensive answers when she inquired. Doubt, a poisonous vine, began to coil around Emma's heart. One sweltering Tuesday, a new face appeared at the local cafe, The Daily Grind. Amelia, with her cascade of auburn hair and eyes that held a perpetual, almost melancholic, curiosity, was a breath of fresh, albeit unsettling, air. She introduced herself as a visiting researcher studying small-town dynamics. Emma, starved for genuine connection, found herself drawn to Amelia's quiet intensity. They spoke of books, of art, of the quiet desperation that sometimes settled in the hearts of those who called Harmony Creek home. Unbeknownst to Emma, Amelia was not here for academic pursuits. Her rival was calculated, her gaze sharp and observant. She'd come to Harmony Creek with a purpose, a mission veiled in a research proposal, and her gaze, when it fell upon Noah, held a flicker of recognition, a spark of something that hinted at a deeper, more complex history. The nights grew longer, the silences in Emma's house heavier. She found herself looking forward to her meetings with Amelia, a clandestine comfort in their shared understanding, but a seed of suspicion had been sown. The way Noah sometimes flinched when Amelia's name was mentioned, the almost imperceptible tension that tightened his jaw, it all added to the growing unease within Emma. The roses in their garden, once Noah's pride and joy, now bloomed with an almost defiant extravagance. Their scent, once sweet, now seemed to carry a cloying undertone, a perfumed shroud for the wilting love between Emma and Noah. Emma, meanwhile, found herself caught in a delicate dance of suspicion and burgeoning friendship, the truth, like a phantom, just beyond her reach, leaving her in a state of perpetual, gnawing anticipation. The summer heat in Harmony Creek seemed to amplify the unspoken tensions. Emma's interactions with Amelia became a subtle balm for her wounded spirit, a fleeting escape from the suffocating atmosphere of her home. Amelia, with her insightful questions and uncanny ability to mirror Emma's unspoken thoughts, felt like a kindred spirit. They'd share coffee at the Daily Grind, their conversations weaving through shared anxieties and artistic aspirations. Amelia spoke of her past with a vague melancholy, hinting at a life lived in shadows, a constant search for something she couldn't quite define. Emma, in turn, confessed her growing doubts about Noah, the growing distance, the unanswered questions that echoed in the hollow spaces of their marriage. Meanwhile, Noah's absences became more frequent, his explanations more vague. He claimed late nights at the office, crucial deadlines, and the stress of a new project. But Emma noticed the subtle shifts in his demeanor, a nervous twitch of his hand, a forced casualness in his tone when Amelia was mentioned, a quick, darting glance whenever a car resembling Amelia's pulled into their driveway. The scent of an unfamiliar, floral perfume, once a faint suspicion, now lingered more persistently on his clothes. One afternoon, driven by a desperate need for certainty, Emma followed Noah. He drove not to his office, but to a secluded cabin on the outskirts of town, a place they hadn't visited since their honeymoon. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she watched him approach the cabin. A woman, her back to Emma, stood on the porch. As Noah embraced her, Emma's world tilted. The woman turned, and Emma's breath hitched. It was not Amelia, but another woman, her features indistinct from Emma's vantage point, her auburn hair a shocking echo of Amelia's. The ensuing days were a blur of disorienting emotions. Emma wrestled with a potent cocktail of love, betrayal, and a chilling sense of dread. She confronted Noah, her voice a raw whisper of anguish. He denied everything, his eyes wide with a feigned innocence that only deepened Emma's despair. He accused her of paranoia, of letting her imagination run wild. The argument escalated, their words sharp and unforgiving, culminating in a deafening silence that settled over the house like a shroud. In her confusion and pain, Emma found herself turning to Amelia. She confided her suspicions, her fears, carefully omitting the part where she'd followed Noah and seen him with another woman. Amelia listened with an unnerving calm, her gaze steady, her words measured. She offered solace, validation, and a subtle redirection of Emma's focus. Perhaps, Amelia suggested, her voice soft, the problem isn't just Noah. Perhaps you need to look deeper, at the underlying currents of this town, the secrets people keep. Emma, desperate for any semblance of understanding, latched onto Amelia's words. She began to observe Harmony Creek with a new, critical eye. She noticed the hushed conversations between neighbors, the averted gazes, the subtle hierarchies that governed their interactions. She found herself drawn to gossip, to the whispers that circulated like a low hum beneath the town's placid surface. One evening, while browsing through an old town archive at the local library, Emma stumbled upon a faded photograph. It was an old newspaper clipping, detailing a scandal from 20 years prior. A prominent family, the Sterlingtons, had been embroiled in a bitter dispute over an inheritance. The names listed, however, were not entirely unfamiliar. One name, in particular, sent a jolt of ice through her veins: Amelia Sterlington. The woman in the photograph, though younger, bore a striking resemblance to Amelia, and next to her, a younger version of the woman Emma had seen with Noah at the cabin. The pieces, sharp and jagged, began to fall into place, forming a mosaic of intrigue and deception. The revelation of Amelia's true identity shattered the fragile sanctuary Emma had found in their friendship. The photograph, a tangible link to a past Emma hadn't even suspected, was a stark indictment of Amelia's motives. Emma's mind raced, piecing together fragments of overheard conversations, Amelia's veiled references to family, her almost predatory interest in Noah's life. The research was a meticulously crafted facade. Emma's own suspicions about Noah's infidelity now took on a sinister new dimension. Was the woman at the cabin Amelia herself, or was Amelia using her, a pawn in a larger, more intricate game? The perfume, the late nights, Noah's evasiveness, it all seemed to point towards a betrayal that was far more complex than a simple affair. Fueled by a mixture of fear and a burning desire for the truth, Emma began to investigate Amelia's past, discreetly. She used her design skills to access limited public records, piecing together Amelia's familial connections. She learned that Amelia's family, the Sterlingtons, had once been powerful in Harmony Creek, their wealth and influence waning over the years. There had been rumors of a bitter feud, of lost fortunes and broken alliances. Meanwhile, Noah remained oblivious to Emma's growing turmoil, or at least, he appeared to be. He continued his late nights, his explanations becoming increasingly flimsy. Emma found herself playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse, feigning ignorance while her mind was a whirlwind of speculation. She observed Noah's interactions with a critical eye, searching for any sign, any slip that would confirm her darkest fears. One evening, Emma decided to confront Amelia directly. She found her at the daily grind, her auburn hair catching the dim light, her eyes holding that familiar, unnerving calm. Emma, her voice trembling but firm, revealed what she knew about Amelia's past, about the photograph. Amelia's composure, for the first time, faltered. A flicker of something akin to panic, quickly masked, crossed her features. She attempted to deflect, to minimize, to portray Emma's discovery as a misunderstanding. But Emma, emboldened by her newfound knowledge, pressed on. "You're not here for research, are you, Amelia?" Emma's voice was low, dangerous. "You're here for revenge." Or perhaps, something more. What is it you want with Noah? Amelia, cornered, revealed a sliver of her true intentions. She spoke of a wronged inheritance, of a family destroyed by greed, of a promise she'd made to her mother. She insinuated that Noah, through his connection to certain influential figures in town, held the key to reclaiming what was lost. Her words were a tangled web of half-truths and calculated manipulations. She implied that Noah was involved in a scheme that had benefited from her family's downfall, and that she intended to expose him, and perhaps, use him to get what she believed was rightfully hers. The conversation left him more bewildered than enlightened. Amelia's story was compelling, laced with a palpable sense of injustice, but it also felt rehearsed, too perfectly crafted. Was Noah truly involved in such a scheme, or was Amelia, in her desperation, twisting the narrative to suit her own agenda? The lines between victim and perpetrator, truth and deception, blurred into an indistinguishable haze. Driven by a desperate need for clarity, Emma decided to go through Noah's attic office, while he was out. She searched through his files, his emails, his blueprints, her heart pounding with a mixture of dread and determination. She found nothing immediately incriminating, but then, tucked away in a hidden compartment of his desk, she found a small, locked journal. Her fingers fumbled with the clasp, her breath catching in her throat. The journal, when finally opened, revealed Noah's innermost thoughts, his anxieties, his regrets, and within its pages, a name that sent a fresh wave of dread through her, Charlotte. It was a name Emma had never heard before, yet it was mentioned with a tenderness that spoke of a deep, forbidden connection. There were references to secret meetings, to stolen moments, to a love that Noah claimed was a desperate escape from his obligations. It was a love that was not with Amelia, nor with the woman Emma had seen at the cabin. It was a betrayal of a different kind, a betrayal that cut deeper, closer to home, than Emma could have ever imagined. The discovery of Noah's journal, with its hidden confessions of love for someone named Charlotte, was a seismic shift in Emma's reality. The initial shock of Amelia's deception had been overshadowed by this profound, intimate betrayal. Charlotte, the name resonated with an unsettling familiarity, a phantom echo in the quiet corners of Emma's memory. Emma's mind raced. Who was Charlotte? She sifted through the journal again, her fingers tracing Noah's hurried script. He wrote of Charlotte's kindness, her understanding, her shared passion for art, a passion Noah had long neglected. He spoke of her as his solace, his escape, but there were no physical descriptions, no hints of her identity, only the raw emotion of a man caught between his vows and an undeniable connection. The intrigue surrounding Amelia and the Sterlingtons suddenly felt like a secondary plot, a diversion from the core of her marital crisis. Yet, Emma couldn't dismiss Amelia entirely. There was still the mystery of the woman at the cabin and Amelia's claims of revenge. One rainy afternoon, Emma found herself drawn to the town's historical society, a dusty repository of Harmony Creek's forgotten stories. She sifted through old yearbooks, community newsletters, searching for a face, a name. It was in an old society event program that she found it, a photograph of a group of volunteers at a charity gala, and there, smiling radiantly, her arm linked with a younger Noah, was Charlotte. The woman in the photograph was undeniably Charlotte, a name Emma now recognized with a chilling certainty. Charlotte, the woman who had been her closest friend since childhood, the godmother to their, stillborn, child, the woman she had confided in about her marital woes. The realization was a brutal, sickening blow. Noah's affair was not with a stranger, not with Amelia, but with her own best friend, Charlotte. The depth of the betrayal was almost unbearable. Emma felt a cold, hard knot form in her stomach. The years of shared secrets, the comforting presence, the seemingly platonic bond, it had all been a lie. Charlotte had been privy to Emma's pain, her suspicions, her vulnerability, all while harboring her own secret relationship with Emma's husband. Emma confronted Charlotte at her quaint antique shop on Main Street. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and lavender. Charlotte's eyes, usually so warm and inviting, now held a flicker of fear, quickly masked by a practiced composure. Emma laid out the journal, her voice devoid of emotion. Charlotte, initially defiant, eventually crumbled. She confessed, her tears a mixture of remorse and self-pity. She spoke of a long-simmering, unspoken attraction to Noah, a feeling that had grown into something uncontrollable. She claimed it had started innocently, a shared understanding, a mutual appreciation for art, a solace from their respective disappointments. She insisted it had been a mistake, a terrible lapse in judgment. She also revealed a crucial detail: Amelia Sterlington was Charlotte's estranged cousin, and Amelia's quest for revenge was tied to a family secret that Charlotte herself had been trying to keep buried. Apparently, Charlotte's family had also been wronged by the Sterlingtons in a complex financial scheme years ago, and Amelia, in her own twisted way, was seeking justice, or perhaps, retribution. The woman Emma had seen with Noah at the cabin was not Amelia, but Charlotte. The perfume, the late nights, they were all tied to Charlotte, not Amelia. Amelia's research was a convenient cover, a way to insert herself into Noah's life, to leverage his connections for her own agenda. Amelia had been manipulating both Emma and Charlotte, feeding information, playing on their insecurities, all to achieve her own ends. Emma was left reeling. Noah's betrayal was immense, a gaping wound in the fabric of their marriage, but Charlotte's betrayal, the deception from her closest friend, was a different kind of agony. It was a violation of trust on a primal level. The final confrontation took place not in the quiet confines of their home, but at the Harmony Creek Town Hall, during the annual summer festival. Amelia, having orchestrated a public exposé, had gathered the town's prominent figures, including the mayor, a stern man named James. She presented what she claimed was irrefutable evidence of Noah's involvement in a financial conspiracy that had benefited from the Sterlington family's misfortune. Her narrative was compelling, her accusations sharp and pointed. But as Amelia spoke, Emma, armed with the truth, stepped forward. She revealed not Amelia's fabricated evidence, but the real story. She spoke of Amelia's personal vendetta, of her manipulative tactics, and how she had used both Noah and Charlotte to achieve her own selfish goals. She revealed the true nature of the Sterlington family's downfall, a story of greed and betrayal that had tarnished Amelia's family as well, and how Amelia's pursuit of revenge was blinding her to the truth. Noah, finally forced to confront his actions, stood silent, his face etched with shame and regret. Charlotte, her voice choked with emotion, corroborated Emma's account, admitting her own part in the deception, but also highlighting Amelia's calculated manipulation. The town, accustomed to polite facade, was stunned by the raw display of betrayal, intrigue, and long-buried secrets. The mayor, James, a man known for his pragmatism, listened intently. He recognized the signs of Amelia's manipulation and the truth in Emma's and Charlotte's words. Amelia, her carefully constructed plan unraveling before her eyes, lashed out, her veneer of sophistication cracking, revealing a desperate, vengeful woman, but her words fell on deaf ears. The ending was not a grand reconciliation, nor dramatic separation. Harmony Creek, a town that thrived on its quiet secrets, was forced to confront a truth that was messy and uncomfortable. Noah and Emma's marriage was irrevocably broken, the echoes of betrayal too loud to ignore. Charlotte, stripped of her deceit, faced the consequences of her actions. Her friendship with Emma shattered beyond repair. Amelia, her plans thwarted, was left to grapple with the fallout of her own machinations, her quest for justice devolving into a pathetic spectacle of vengeful desperation. As the festival lights flickered and the crowd dispersed, Emma walked away from the town hall, leaving behind the wreckage of her past. The air in Harmony Creek, once a suffocating blanket, now felt strangely lighter. The silence that followed was not one of emptiness, but of a newfound, albeit painful, clarity. The echo of love, of betrayal, of passion, and of intricate intrigues had finally subsided, leaving behind the quiet, resonant truth, waiting to be rebuilt. Dear listeners of the Book Whisper, we hope you've been left with a lasting impression. We're constantly searching for new stories to share with you. Don't miss what's next. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Give us a like if you'd love more audiobooks like this. Until our next meeting on the pages of our tales.